Welcome back to The Need to Ride, and if you're new to the channel, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to talk about BMW's engineering masterpiece, and the result of that effort was this motorcycle, the K1200S. This is my personal bike. It's a 2006 version of it, but what BMW wanted to do back then was to create the most technologically advanced, fastest sport tourer in the world, and the result was this motorcycle. It's capable of 180 miles per hour and yet still comfortable enough to go across the country with it. So without further ado, let's get into this bike and get more familiar with it. Today we're going to talk about the K1200S and why it came to be. So back in 2002, they started to develop this motorcycle because BMW felt there was a niche rider that was big enough to market to, that wanted a touring bike, but they didn't want to ride a sport bike, but they still wanted the sport bike performance. So they had a challenge in front of them. They couldn't do that with the S, with the brick motor. The brick motor, as you know in my other video, I went over that. It's a longitudinal motor set in the bike, and that whole design limited the size of the engine that you could put in a bike, because they got to the point where if they wanted to make a bigger engine or a more powerful engine, they were going to have to increase the size, which would increase the length of that engine, and the bike would have to increase in size as well. They just didn't want to do that, and really couldn't do that. They also wanted to lighten the bike up. So they needed to come up with a new engine design as well for that reason. So they came up with this 1157 cc inverted engine producing 167 horsepower. The bike also lost some weight due to the engine and the new frame. This bike has an aluminum chassis, and it's much lighter than the KRS. So more horsepower and less weight. The other thing they had to do was they wanted a better front end suspension, so they come up with the Duolever suspension. It's a much shorter looking suspension. If you look in the diagram, you can see the difference between the Telelever and the Duolever. The Telelever is much longer and it goes further back into the bike. The Duolever is it's like a wishbone system. It's much shorter and it's more in front of the bike. The forks were replaced with a solid wishbone fork in the front, unlike the bikes today, and the K1200S RS that still had a traditional looking fork that went up and down with the Telelever. This was solid. It was a solid wishbone that came down. So this is what I'm talking about with the forks. You can see they're solid, right? So if you look at the RS, there is up in there, the forks go into up in there and slide. And if you look at the RT, it's got the Telelever as well. You can see that is pretty simply. So they do go up and down with the bike, where this suspension is very different. This whole thing rides up and down. You can see the pivot point is right there, and shock is way in the back. You can see that in the diagram much clearer, but that's what it looks like. What that did was it gave this motorcycle really good capability at high speed, very stable at high speeds, and also increased its performance and cornering. Not quite as good as an inverted fork system, but much better than the Telelever. So that was BMW's thought. They would go into this market and find this niche and be able to sell to the person who wanted the performance of a sport bike, but yet the comfort of a tourer and capability of a tourer. The bike did that pretty well. It's really sporty. It's very nimble. It's very fast. It has incredible mid-range in it. When you get on this bike, it will put you in the seat from that mid-range. It has a red line of about 11,000 RPM, much higher than the RS was, higher than the Boxer. So performance-wise, this bike is really a handful. And if you put it against today's motorcycles, it's really going to be the rider that's going to be the limitation, not so much the motorcycle. This bike is very capable. And from a touring perspective, it's pretty good. It has good wind protection, more aerodynamic, so it doesn't get as phased on the open road as even my RT does. My RT sometimes gets a little upset when you get a lot of crosswind and the big trucks going by you. This bike doesn't really do that. This bike is very, very stable because there's not a lot for this wind to grab on, but yet still gives you a lot of protection. So it gave you a good touring capability. I wouldn't call it as capable as even the RT or the big K1600, but it did have some good touring capability. So it was a nice compromise between a sport bike and a tourer. But ultimately, they only sold like 15,000 units between the K1200 and the K1300. Now, the 1300 was an improvement on this bike. This bike was a little less horsepower, but the big improvement was the clutch. This clutch has some issues. The basket tends to wear, and it creates this clutch rattle. It's something that you need to take care of eventually. It's not right away, but it is annoying. You hear it. This particular bike has that. When I start it and run it for a while, you'll start to hear the clutch rattle a little bit when I let go of when I open the clutch and put in neutral. It still finds the gears very easily. I don't have that issue. When they get real bad, you have a problem finding neutral, and sometimes second's a little difficult to get in. This bike doesn't have that problem. The other shortcomings with this bike, again, is the ABS. These old BMWs notoriously have ABS issues. This is not immune to that. This also has that. The remedy for that is try to keep your brake fluid fresh. You should really flush your system out every 2 years. If you do it every year, that's even better, because the brake fluid is very hygroscopic, and it tends to wear or corrode the ABS system a little bit, and ultimately it makes it fail. Other than that, the electronics are somewhat susceptible to failure. It has the fully adjustable suspension, and as well as ride modes on it. It has, a normal ride mode, a comfort ride mode, and a performance ride mode. And it does adjust the engine performance and the suspension. This is where the clutch is. So if you want to do a clutch maintenance or repair, this all comes out and you can do it. Unlike the RS, you got to take the whole back of the bike apart because the clutch is in the back, very much like a car. This is set up more like a motorcycle, traditional motorcycle clutch. I got the Corbin seat on. I'm probably going to replace that because it's getting pretty old and raggedy looking. But you can see this bike is really, really pretty. I mean, it's in really good shape. Let me give you a better shot because the sun gets in the way. But it's a very, very nice bike. And I really like the dash on it. I'll show you the dash. It's a mixture of old school with the analog and the digital. And you can see the digital light up. All right, so we'll give it a cold start and I'll show you what it sounds like. Yeah, I have an aftermarket exhaust on it, so it's got a nice tone to it. So here we are riding the K1200S, and this bike is very, very cool. It's very powerful. When I ride this bike, out of all three of them I've been riding, I didn't ride the GS yet, but riding the S, riding the RT, this bike gives me pause. Really does, because it's powerful and I don't want it to get away from me at all. And it's one of those things, you know, I don't ride it enough. As my father used to say about when I used to ride when I was younger, I'd be one with the bike. I don't really have that with this bike because I don't ride it enough. But you can see it's very nice riding, comfortable, real super comfortable position. I mean, when I ride this, I'm not saying I could go cross country with this bike, but when you compare it to the S, it's a little more comfortable. And I love the S. I think the S is one of the nicest bikes ever made. And I did that review on that bike a few months ago. And it gets a lot of attention because it's a very popular motorcycle and people want to know about it. We'll find out how popular this bike is. I don't expect it to be as popular as the S, but you know, it deserves a review. So very traditional inline four power. There's no surprise there. But what is surprising is the fact that BMW made such a powerful motorcycle back then. I mean, it's just coming off the line, lots of torque, shifts really smooth. You know, I know all these new bikes brag about all this stuff, but I don't know. The difference to me is minimal. I'm not saying there isn't a difference, but am I spending $30,000 for that difference? $40,000? No, I'm not. But this is a lovely, lovely riding motorcycle. Very planted. You can flip this bike around. It's definitely flickable. But as you know, I'm an older rider, so I don't do all that crazy stuff anymore. Now it does have the older style lighting, signal lights on it. A lot of people don't like them. I'm not saying I love them. It used to be like the old Harley Davidson had that, the left was left, the right was right. They are self-canceling, you don't have to cancel them. You heard that, those shifts, they're very, very smooth. But getting back to the signals, a lot of people don't like them. Because they're unconventional, very old school. But it takes a bit of getting used to when you own one. Like I got the RS and this one, it's not. I'm kind of used to them. It's not a big deal. Braking is unbelievable. Bike brakes really good. Yeah, it's got power forever. I never use the power. myself. Well, thanks for joining me today on the Need to Ride and the review of the K1200S. I think it's an important motorcycle for BMW. It's still relevant today. It was the pathway, the gateway to the RR, and it does deserve its place in history. So until next time, God bless and keep riding.